Look at this stunning blue. Is it merely a color or is it a radiance? This pigment not only pleases the eye, but seems to emit an unearthly light, carrying a depth that pulls you in. Yet this incredible beauty came at an immense cost. This is the color that could bankrupt an artist just to acquire it, and for which a patron might have to mortgage their entire fortune just for a small tube. What is the secret behind this wealth and this exclusivity? This was no simple chemical compound mixed in a studio. It was a legend stemming from a 1,000-year journey and an absolute geographical monopoly. Its Latin name, Ultramarinus, perfectly captures its origin, beyond the sea. It was a pigment so precious that when it finally reached Europe, it was handled more carefully than jewels and gold. It became the signature of the divine in art, setting the Renaissance masters apart. Today, we reveal the complete story of history's most precious and rarest color, ultramarine blue, the pigment that defined true luxury for the Renaissance. Imagine the journey. It didn't start in a European studio. It started thousands of miles away in the highest, most dangerous mountains of Central Asia. The arrival of a single pound of this blue stone in Venice was an economic event. Its scarcity made it a status symbol, not just for the artists, but for the patrons who commissioned them. This pigment was literally priceless, its cost determined not by science, but by danger, distance, and devotion. From the rough stone extracted by hand to the finest powdered pigment, every step was a testament to its value. The world had other blues, of course, cheap azurite or indigo, but nothing possessed the stable, luminous depth of ultramarine. It was, quite simply, the most perfect blue the world had ever seen, and only one location on Earth produced it. To grasp the staggering value of ultramarine, we must journey to the heart of Asia, to the remote region of Badakhshan, Afghanistan. This is where the only mine in the entire world with gem-quality Lapis Lazuli could be found, specifically the ancient Sari Song mine. This fact alone was the first and most crucial reason for the color's millennium-long exclusivity. This stone has been mined in these dangerous mountains for over 6,000 years. Imagine, to acquire the world's most valuable pigment, workers in deep, dark, and shaky tunnels had to risk their lives with primitive tools, extracting the stone manually from solid rock. This hardship and the extreme peril made the price astronomical from the moment of its birth. The journey of this color from this sole point of extraction was an epic. Ultramarine had to travel thousands of miles, through the treacherous passes of the Hindu Kush Mountains, across Persia, through Baghdad, Constantinople, and finally by ship across the Mediterranean to the bustling port of Venice. The route was not just long. Every caravan was exposed to bandits, local rulers demanding exorbitant tribute, and heavy trade tariffs at every border. The stone's value multiplied with every mile covered. This is why in Venice, ultramarine became the rarest and most luxurious commodity, named after its voyage, ultramarine, literally meaning beyond the sea. Venice held the trade monopoly, cementing its status as the only reliable gateway for the color into Europe. But even after the perilous journey, the work was not finished. The raw lapis lazuli stone was full of impurities, calcite, silicates, and the golden glitter of pyrite. These had to be removed, or the resulting color would be a dull, disappointing gray. The process of converting this stone into pure pigment was not mere chemistry. It was considered true alchemy, requiring immense skill and patience. The artist or their specialized assistant had to meticulously grind the stone into a fine powder, then mix the resulting material with a special compound of melted wax, pine resin, tree gums, and special oils. This dough-like mixture was then kneaded and washed repeatedly in an alkaline solution, lye. With each wash, only the purest, most minute blue particles would reluctantly separate from the greenish and gray impurities. From every 100 grams of stone that had traveled with so many risks, perhaps only 2 to 3 grams of pure, brilliant pigment remained. This massive, intentional loss during the production process was what ultimately drove the price of ultramarine to its peak, often more expensive than its weight in gold. If this dangerous and mysterious journey of the world's most expensive color has captivated you so far, please hit that like button right now. Your like helps this fascinating historical secret reach more people. Thank you for supporting us. Ultramarine was not sold to ordinary painters. Due to its prohibitive cost and rarity, the color became the absolute monopoly of the church and royalty. Throughout the Middle Ages and the early Renaissance, the pigment was almost exclusively reserved for painting the robes and drapery of the Virgin Mary. This wasn't just a sign of respect, it was an extreme display of wealth and devotion. By dedicating the most expensive substance on earth to Mary, the church or the patron was sending a powerful, undeniable message about the sacredness and importance of the figure. A painter literally had to save the color particle by particle, using cheaper blues like azurite for background or lesser figures, and only applying the true ultramarine as the final, crowning layer. For the great artists of the Renaissance, using this color was a major financial challenge and a huge logistical hassle. The artists could not simply buy ultramarine themselves, as the cost would break their budget. Therefore, in many painting commission contracts, the patron was explicitly obligated to procure and deliver the raw Lapis Lazuli material to the studio separately from the commission fee. Historical documents show clauses where the artist would swear an oath not to substitute the blue pigment with any cheaper alternative, often having to paint the Virgin Mary's robes in the presence of the patron to prove they used the real deal. The famous story of Michelangelo is telling. During a period when he couldn't afford it, he famously left his painting, The Entombment, unfinished, declaring, "I am not rich enough." He simply could not complete the divine robes without the proper blue. And then there is Johannes Vermeer. While other great painters used the color sparingly, a dab here, a highlight there, Vermeer, who was a notoriously poor artist himself, audaciously used it everywhere. He coated walls, shadows, and even the smallest details of clothing with this precious pigment, sometimes layering it thickly. How could he afford this costly extravagance? His secret lay in the generous patronage of a local supporter named Peter van Riven, who essentially functioned as Vermeer's exclusive collector and financial backer. Van Riven enabled Vermeer to acquire the very best pigments, including large, seemingly reckless quantities of ultramarine, to create masterpieces. This vibrant, deep blue became Vermeer's personal signature, a signature of genius and colorful madness, thanks to a private, unique financial arrangement. If you enjoy uncovering these hidden secrets in the history of art, alchemy, and the financial history of luxury, it's time to join our family by subscribing. Hit the bell so you don't miss any of our next fascinating journeys through history. Thank you for being here. The costly reign of ultramarine, which lasted for nearly 6 centuries as a monopoly, finally ended with a scientific revolution in the 19th century. In 1826, the French Society for the Encouragement of National Industry, recognizing the color's artistic and cultural importance, offered a hefty prize of 6,000 francs to any chemist who could produce a synthetic, chemically identical, and affordable ultramarine blue. The challenge was monumental: recreate a substance that had been a geographical miracle. Finally, the French industrial chemist Jean-Baptiste Goumet broke the spell. Through a complex high-temperature synthesis involving clay, sulfur, and charcoal, he successfully created the new color. The new color, known as French ultramarine, had the same beauty and brilliance as the natural pigment, but came at a price thousands of times cheaper and without the perilous journey from the Afghan mountains. The ultramarine monopoly was shattered. This invention revolutionized the world. Suddenly, every artist, student, and even common decorator could afford this royal color. This, in turn, fueled new art movements like Impressionism, allowing them to use colors more boldly and freely than ever before. The story of ultramarine is a fascinating journey that started in the exclusive mountains of Afghanistan and, through the power of science, finally reached the entire world. A story of how science shattered the monopoly of wealth and art, turning the color of saints into the color of everyone. If you would like to hear more stories from this mysterious and exciting world, be sure to subscribe to our channel and activate the bell. Also, tell me in the comments which other color you would like to know more about.